Welcome, welcome to my lovely IHP community and the 5D collective as we close on out with the Why is Love So Beautiful for the Empowered Feminine. So, number one, the sea serpent gives a really good explanation, and I'm going to go find the little booklet so that I can read it to you. Also, this one, and the empowered feminine, she does know, like the empowered masculines, about those things, but this is what we have, and we don't call it ego death because your ego don't die. No, you actually know about this lovely spirit has your back because mindfully living and loving mystics and spirituality people, and just mindfully living and loving people, their mind is wise. So they know that they're good and being in their restorative embodiment. Okay, so love helps us to keep moving towards this when you're using the freedom to use the integrated brain. If, on the other hand, you do what the Zen master does, then you won't be the sea serpent and you won't be an empowered feminine, in fact. Okay, so the empowered feminine means you know how to be in your body and with your feelings, and that's softly. And so, creatively expressing yourself, emotional wounds, you're knowing how to process them. You can express your desires. You have a heart that is at ease with your relationships, and they're meaningful and enduring ones. Okay, and if you do have areas that stagnate, you allow yourself to work through that, or to remember that no matter what, you're unconsciously loved. The capacity to embrace yourself. So, like a mother, you are your own safe haven, secure base, and that gesture of protection. So, an empowered feminine doesn't need protection by other, and masculines are actively not protective unless they're empowered masculines, because that's when they're going to be their empowered feminine. So, they will only know how to protect when they know how to nurture their own emotional plane, and that's the time that they'll be a lover. Okay, so in the meantime, empowered feminine here, I learned how to keep on expressing my true nature thanks to using my own nervous system. And then, with that relationship, in my case, Anima Mundi, shared consciousness, to be able to continue expanding on my clairs. Okay, so my lovely oversoul, my masculines, they all are why I get to talk to you about fun stories. I mean, even my future husband gave me the opportunity to share funny stories and to actually know even more about my future. And so, the part about what love is, for those of us who don't need to heal trauma because we have a mindfully aware and accountable and regulating mind with spirituality, so life of meaning, connection beyond the soul self, but I come also with Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, and I actually begin here. So I already knew about till death do you part, sickness and in health, and here's something my lovely body gave me to share. Circumstances in the night, merry laughing, and handsome and mirror an invasion of reflection of trust. And that's what I feel when it comes to people that I've had the opportunity to share life with. And that doesn't mean that it's been sunshines and roses, but it's not something I'll define as hard. I can define them as emotional, yes. But see, for an empowered feminine, emotional is not suffering. And this is the one thing that people who don't understand what an empowered feminine is because they're not in their prefrontal cortex. Now, whether it's my DNA, as one of the articles and studies that they have been looking into on NICBM, they have an article that talks about this. That it's my DNA, maybe that could be my genes, why I can feel more depth of emotion than somebody else without having a window tolerance shoot out the roof. Okay, but there's determined also Robert Sapolsky, and in either and all cases, the point is sharing this is for those who are choosing to want to hear about being an empowered feminine, you're choosing mindfulness mindset or mindset practices, or anyways, you're looking into a self-empowered IHP podcast episode and or video. And so what I can tell you is emotions are deep. People who don't experience them our way think we suffer and that we're pretending or relying because they don't know how to embody their state of safety. I spot, liar, liar, pants on fire, wherever I see a threat, 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 threat. So when I'm seeing men and women say that by being alone, you're going to be in your coherent state, not really. When you're alone, you're going to be the same person that if you're in a room with a bunch of people you don't like, you're going to get reactive in their face because you don't know self mastery. You don't know love. You don't know your empowered feminine at all. You don't know anything about your feminine just yet. I mean, you might think you do. So, again, side note, the key to your heart, the key to my heart, it's our own selves and the key to our luck as well. And that's a lovely little lucky charm. So I got lucky with my oversoul. And what I got lucky about is myself. Maria's body, as lovely can be, and then with obviously my primary caregiver, right? So I got to have a body and a mind and a heart that allows me to learn from the external by maintaining my differentiated 3-year-old. So I didn't have any heartbreak as a 4-year-old. I'm getting rejected. Go home. It's okay. You're serious. It's different. You'll meet people that are serious like you when you grow up. And that's how it works. So you don't love less. You love more because you don't lose self-esteem if you're empowered. If you're not an empowered feminine, then that's a different story. So for me, I laugh when I see anyone thinking that someone outside of themselves can protect them. And that's mentally, emotionally, and physically. I don't laugh to make fun of them. I laugh because that's ridiculous. Because the only person who can soothe you effectively, but then again, I'm an empowered feminine. Okay, so what is love? It is I wake up and go to sleep with you laughing with me. If you don't know how to be vibrant, energized, and vital, I don't know what you're doing. You're not going to be a lover of mine. If I'm called to emotional, yeah, no, I don't think so. That won't even make it anywhere past my ears. And so I love to actually love. The relationships I've had, I've loved them. And when they got finished for reasons. Twin flames are a different type of relationship because that's where it's a bond. They're unbreakable. You don't get rid of a twin flame. You don't get rid of your soulmates. You don't get rid of your oversoul. That's the part of what makes it magical. So I'll never forget when I don't want to give all the details away, but I'll just never forget the song. Remember the Sleeping Beauty song? But not because of Sleeping Beauty, even though that's my favorite fairy tale, by the way. So it was funny to actually hear that song and then think, wow, okay, that's interesting. I know you, I walked with you once upon a dream. I know you, the gleam in your eyes is so familiar a gleam. And although it's true that dreams are seldom what they seem, if I know you, I know what you'll do. Okay, so that one. You'll love me at once, the way you did once. Okay, with the mystic aspect and past lives and future lives, this is the part that was really beautiful as my clairs continued to expand. And so my oversoul settled into a first lovely group of people with all these twin flames and soulmates from the past and from the twin flames. And then I expanded to Earth and the galactic forces, meeting galactic beings. I've had a multitude of astral travels, different dimensions, you name it. I meet people in my dreams that consistently can times come back, depends, but they change based on the themes we're visiting on Earth. So long story short, though, for this specific thing that I was sharing, there's a certain point where I realized who this future husband of mine is. I didn't know about this until this moment, and that's because I got a download. So an empowered feminine, we get downloads. And as I've shared before, we know who we're picking up because every person, and I saw an old science man, I don't remember his name and I can't find the video anymore, but we're all an energetic imprint. So like a code, but don't talk about the matrix, please. That's not the matrix. That actually dehumanizes. And I am of the soul. I'm of the pure consciousness. So I'm talking about energy because it's an energetic imprint, but we are like the stars and air. I mean, we're connected. We're the essence of love and life in form. And in bodies, we get to experience each other, which is why love is never going to be anything but beautiful. And so the empowered feminine will know I'm going through experiencing and mastering my positive charge. I'm now experiencing and mastering my negative charge. And we won't be involving anyone in the process and saying that I'm setting in stone some kind of timeline, the way that, again, you're hearing others do that. You're going to live moment to moment, appreciated and appreciative. But the point of the story is that as you experience your oversoul and your clairs, you get more familiar with them. You're going to intuitively know a lot of things. You don't share it unless you're with that life partner or partners, because that's the empowered masculine that I'm now talking about for a feminine. And that's because I'm going to know who it is, and I'm going to know how and why, and da 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 da, and I'm going to know by every step they take that they are it. And even if moving from the one to the ones to no ones had its emotional depth, it was not traumatic to what others though think when you're sharing stories with people who don't know, like the Zen master, how to do emotions. Because there are people who don't know how to use their prefrontal cortex. This is the thing. They don't know. Some of us don't feel hard thoughts and emotions. It's not hard. It's not strong. I don't have that. You see what I'm saying? So I look back, and the one moment I realized how lucky I was, even more than I had ever been before, was as I was looking at that rainbow child. And that was in a series of events, as I already knew that there would be. And then I knew what I was looking forward to eventually understanding. And I'm still on that journey, because also the planet is on its own little theme. So I know exactly where all of those who are my oversoul are at as an empowered feminine. And I know that's not about love, but love is about this. It's that I will care that my lovers are happy and doing well inside, not anywhere else, because that's the empowered feminine. We're picking up on the subconscious and conscious, the shared consciousness sphere. So while those who are not mystics, you don't understand this, let me just talk about it. Relational field, Dr. Daniel Siegel, he's explained it. And he's talked about dreams and sometimes you being able to have something that takes place because you're creating a relationship. But obviously he's talking about it only from the somatic empath and therapist's perspective, although that's exactly why science's person, you write a Patrick McNamara, he doesn't care about you writing him, because to him it's just, a person who's having dreams. Which is where those who think of our Akashic record readings and everything that we experience as just that, I mean, we who's we? People with Holy Spirit, Jesus, God, Akash, universe, source, experiences that are of mystics. But people who are empowered feminines won't be like, oh my God, they have to believe me. I'm going to go prove it. No, you don't have to prove it. You won't. You won't. You won't want to. You won't need to. You'll want to share it with a person. If you're a mystic like me, then you're going to say, if you resonate, I want to share with those people. Because the 5D collective, we don't think of ourselves as special, anointed, or any of that. We find it disrespectful. We find it untrue. We find it that they forgot what they forget what spirituality is about. Who's they? All of the ones who are impersonating and not using their human name and not noticing that they're just doing that 4D, 3D. But I digress. So as we close on out, the oversoul is amazing. Love, amazing. Empowered feminine, I'm not simply a person, is what I was trying to get to. So my lover and lovers and my relationships don't have the same way for me to approach them, because I don't look at it like a Dr. Daniel Siegel who's explaining to me something and I'm understanding. or a quantum physicist or one of those scientists who looks at the hard problem of consciousness. Even when I'll read existential physics, I like and can't wait to, because I know about dark matter, dark energy. It doesn't disprove and it doesn't dismantle who I am in this lifetime. I also know what my future lifetime will be, and I also know exactly why the future will be the way it will be, which is also why I love this lifetime. It's too bad for some people who didn't or are not going to make the best of it because, well, I'm going to leave that one alone, but love is always beautiful. And if you're an empowered feminine, you're going to say yes. And you know what you always are going to wonder? Do I have a challenger? Because if I do, I know you're going to be the one because you're going to have me smiling, and I'm going to be consistently surprised because you are an eternal child in the essence of love and life, just like I am. And your purity is going to seep through every one of those little bones of yours. And, so you're just going to bring to me a bunch of stuff. It doesn't mean it's a one note, but it's going to be with the funny bone that I was talking to you about. So that's what an empowered feminine can tell you. We know love is that never changes from the day one to day now. But what's that song, the Notting Hill song, where they were in that one movie, Notting Hill. Anyways, if anyone, if you jogged your memory, that one came through. But yeah, so 4D is talking about love in a very different way, and the empowered feminine with the threat response. I am sharing with you the 5D empowered feminine, which is all people who have that desire and or they have that earned secure attachment. So lovers and or lover is, hey, let's get our drawing boards and it's okay, we're going to have a good time because we have egos that are empowered. So you have people with confidence, and that means I can't lose you, you can't lose me. That doesn't happen. There's no splinter or rupture that could have us not talk, not try to work it out, not have a laugh together. Okay, so the people that know what love is this way, this is what love is. And we don't need mediators because we know our state of safety or we're choosing it. Obviously, some people might have had therapists to get them started. Once you get started and you're on a roll, now you get to keeping that healthy self-worth in the forefront. It's fun, safe haven, secure base, so you don't change it up and you don't disappear and you don't do inconsistencies. You actively show up again, and with self-awareness, accountability, and regulation skills. And that doesn't ever actually, I use ever, let me not exaggerate, but for this empowered feminine, because I'm sharing with you my stories or my way of letting you in on a fun fact, this has never changed any of those years of relationships. You are going to be a lover of mine, and I'm going to be a lover of yours because we're going to lift each other up higher. And that's it. And if you bring me humbug, I'll know how to ignore your humbug. No, I won't be ignoring your humbug. I'm going to be like, what the fuck? Why? What's your mood? What's it about? And that's why all the attachment trauma information makes every single one of us way better at being able to say, okay, so what are we working on today? And okay, how do we want to work on it next time? Now, again, working through that is the fun part. It's not boring. It's not frustrating. You're building what is a genuine relationship. You're building this. You're having a good time. A person who loves you is going to be safe for you, which is why they're not going to bring to you unsafety. Remember my mystic friend, the one guy that I told you all about, and then I'll let you all go. So we're gonna just close it out with him. But so when he shared about the fiance who broke it off, he was immediately understanding, and he said, I got pretty scary. So I understand, and that's what love is. And then when the year after, last year, when I'm talking to him, I ended up rejecting love for fear of it. because she was seriously back and wanting something serious, but he wasn't yet healed enough. And he'd been going to therapy. And he's going to go back. Okay. So this is why we're in a different time for those of us who care about people having attachment trauma information and knowing how to support those who want out. So my friend, he lost that lover. But when she left him, he didn't get angry and he wished her well when she got back, even though his wishing well was because he was protecting himself. But still, that's what love is. And he's a man, and I honor and respect this man who is an empowered feminine or getting there of himself because he takes his emotions and allows him to share them. Women, on the other hand, spiteful, vindictive, envious, and jealous. And so, what I can tell you, one story from this one individual with twin flame, there's many more, but I'll just use this one. And this one is where not only do we have, and there's more than just one, others with soulmates. So, looking to the past, wanting to see the person get karma, actively feeling good when the person's getting karma as they watch them move forward and do shit, okay? So that isn't anything loving. That's an insecure human being. It's a distorted, disempowered feminine who is not going to get their good therapy so that they can get empowered inside versus feeling like they were helpless, hopeless, and put in a spot of the victim I am. Because that's what the distorted feminine will feel like, which is why she becomes a squirrel. And it doesn't have to be a woman. It can be the nice guys or whatever that. But that's where the anxious and the manipulative desperate go. And then, the grandiose, the terrible, his little scale of unhealthy self-worth people. So to an empowered feminine, neither of these, none of the scales mean anything except for a person that doesn't have healthy self-worth. So I will be a person who will be surprised if it happens with my loving connections because I will trust my loving connections. That's what takes you by surprise for Mystic with the Oversoul, because I'm very much familiar with my entire Oversoul. And so by being familiar, there's always been a sense of safety and reciprocation with that, even if we have different love language and languages. Okay, so the part that will surprise you is in the case of some of that which can take place with the twin flame. Yes. And that's actually, again, something that intuitively, as it's happening, you know that it's happening because you're expanding. You'll share it with your loved ones, the ones who understand, but you also stop sharing with people if they continue to interject in ways that aren't representative of what you're experiencing, which is what can happen. So the stories of the ones who are looking to the past for vengeance, really what they do and what they did is build karma. As they went to, I want to fuck someone so that I can live with someone so that I can be not alone, which is an active, unresolved healing of trauma stuff. I'm going to go fill a void by building stuff. And this is why the doer, the hostile, the doomsdayer, the ghost, the please appeaser. Those are childhood trauma personality types that Patrick Teahan talks about. And anytime you're seeing anyone unsatisfied with life, and in any of that, again, it's clear that there can be a way to get out of it. They're not choosing it. So the mystic community, when you see, well, like the not mystic community, any type of man or woman or they who is not able to be compassionate is not yet, in my personal opinion, a person who knows what love is at all, because they don't know their state of safety towards anyone who has done something that has upset them, which is a process though, like Patrick Teahan points out. So forgiveness is not something that you just know. You will work through all of emotions that come up, like when people are healing their trauma, and anger is one of them. But if you are an empowered feminine, it won't be anger that's projected at the character of a person that you love, because that would make no sense. You are a person who will have said, "You're the one. I can live with you. I can do this with you." Basically, if I've seen you as a potential life partner, there are qualities in you. Now, that I can also recognize if I have that childhood trauma stuff where I got that from. Yes, yes, fair and square. But I'm saying if you're a healed, empowered, feminine, and a person who is there, healed, you're going to not use anger in a way of, I'm upset so much that I'm going to cast stones at you. It will be a process of I'm accepting that which I am not happy about. And that's exactly why you won't make it into something dramatic, but that as an empowered feminine, you'll be aware of. This is the good relationship with anger. That a person who has a good relationship with all those emotions from the bilaterally and vertically integrated brain with the inner growth mindset, mindfulness practices, and mindset can tell you there's nothing that stays. Everything gets processed. The anger is not something that is like, oh my God. The sadness isn't, oh my God. It's the process of actively moving through it. And that's exactly why the sciences would say that is post traumatic growth. That's their opinion. But they don't have the right or faculty to actually measure that. Stephen Porges, I think he's doing tests because this is where he knows every nervous system has a different way that it can interact with the external. So there's tests that you can do. I think, I don't know. But my point is, emotions and the feeling of emotional depth is being looked at. And any person who's empowered as a feminine is able to emotionally harness who they are, how they are, and then be in relationships. And love is something that is amazing because you get to be who you are with people in love, not in any other way. Remember, though, everyone has a different journey, so that's something of a side note. But mindfulness, mindset, and mindset help you to work through things. And really, the functional adult relational language that Terry Real talks about, differentiation of the self that Dr. Dana Siegel talks about, the we, me, we. So for me, it's very straightforward. And the only people who don't know how to do this are the people who are not emotionally available. They don't want to do it. So that's not a partner. That's a person, twin flame, soulmate, doesn't matter who they are. Again, the bond doesn't break because that's for mystics, but as for relationships, you recalibrate and you obviously move forward. The life partner, they know how to make a promise and keep it because they actively care about building genuine, authentic relationship. And that's the part that doesn't change as you get older when you're an empowered feminine. You don't grow bitter. You don't grow lonely. You don't grow hostile. Don't grow angry. You don't look to the past and think, I want them to get karma. I want them to suffer. You don't think or feel that. If you still have feelings that are of sadness and anger, you'll know they come up. As they come up, that's the whole point of why it's a process over time, which is why that Zen master says you have laundry, but it's not laundry when you're mindfully living, spiritually living as an empowered feminine, 5D mystic, and or functional adult, inner child adult. So what we do is here we are healthy adult relationships, healing trauma seriously, and we have restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating people join us. So true love is all about lifelong partnership with a lot of funny bones. That's what love is. And even if there's sad bones or angry bones, but we're not unsafe. Like my friend, we want each other's best interest and we will talk honestly and consistently, not in and out, in and out. No, anyone who's doing that, they're not into being a person who's building something solid. They're still doing their unfinished business, and that's not good or bad. Just going to be very clear, that's all. So that's not a life partner. That's somebody who's, Okay, so like, share, and subscribe to support the channel, and hopefully you to enjoy more of the content. Share with others as well. And thank you again for using your time. Let's all remember it is a process to love. I just know one thing, that what would life be without a little bit of love? So catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Never let it fade away. And then save it for a rainy day. And then when love taps you on the shoulder on some starless night, and you may just want to hold her, him, or they. You catch a pocket full of starlight. So that's what love sounds like, and it's also a groovy kind of love. When I'm feeling blue, all I have to do. And what else? I know you know it. I love to love, and my baby, he loves to dance, and he loves to love and live and learn and laugh and not cast stones and learn some more and expand. So we'll be back with more again. Thanks for stopping by.